It's time for the big conversations, telling stories of movers and shakers, of industry giants and daring professionals. It's time for the conversations that change your perspective on life, the kind of conversations that shape entrepreneurs and move careers forward. If you don't know where these conversations are found, we are sending you a GPS. But if you're listening to this voice right now, you are here. Welcome to the Growth Podcast. This is the GPS.
All right, welcome to another exciting episode of the Growth Podcast. We have a very interesting guest on the podcast this week, but before we get into the nitty-gritty of that conversation, we want to thank you so much for supporting the podcast all the way. This is going to be a very exciting conversation. I look forward to this one because I know that so much is going to come out of it, and I know that you will get good value for your time and your bundles. If you're watching with free internet, good for you. Shout out to our friends at Win Electronics for supporting the podcast, and we look forward to doing more with them. So our guest for this week is a very familiar face to most of you. If you are attracted to conversations like this one, then you know who our guest is. Mr. Mubita, now welcome to the Growth Podcast.
Thank you so very much, sir. It's good to see you.
No, it's good to see you. How have you been?
I've been great. Thank you for having me on your show. It's a great, great podcast. I admire it. I admire the way you do it, and to be here is a great honor.
No, we're very happy to have you. I've seen the work that you've been doing, and I figured those are the things that we have to come and, discuss on the podcast. And I'm happy that you're here.
Thank you, sir.
Family is good?
Family is good. Very good.
Very good. Okay, good. So we have a tradition on the podcast. I've got these cards. Sure. Pick out randomly any four. There's a question. Ask the question, then you answer it. And then that will set us up for our conversation. All right. Thank you. So ask and answer. Number one.
Fast forward 20 years, what does life look like now? I see life a bit more stable, settled, less physical work, travel, more electronic monitoring, just ensuring that teams are working, functioning. Health, I will still be fairly healthy. And sitting on a very big farm, enjoying my giraffes and my zebras.
Okay, that's a clear picture. Next one.
What's the best mistake you've ever made and why? Oh, Suilanj.
You picked it yourself.
No, I didn't know this was the question. I've made many mistakes. And I think one of the best mistakes I've ever made was to dare to dream at a young age. I was 19 years old, and I just believed I could start a business, and I started. I was 24 years old. I believed I could leave Zambia to go to America and sell everything, and I did. That mistake cost me a lot of beautiful things. When I look back now, I was like, what were you thinking? But I'm so glad I made that mistake, to walk away from everything and to start afresh. People laughed at me, but I'm glad they did. Great mistake. What's your definition of success? This is lovely. Success is finding what you love and loving what you find. Then you grow it. Then you train others to love what you found and to take care of what you found and grow it and let them buy into that vision. Success is not individual, it's teamwork. So when you reach a stage where you can now empower others to empower themselves and empower others, that is success. What part of your life have you still not figured out? This one should have come with scriptures, bro. What part of my life have I still not figured out? This one, can we switch off the cameras? There's a part of my life, funny, that I haven't figured out. Thank you. Who do I really want to be in a particular aspect of my life that relates so much to social governance and political leadership and national contribution? I believe that I've done an amazing work contributing to national issues up to this stage. But from this stage going forward, to be very, very honest with you, I'm still figuring that out. About 20 years ago, I wrote in my first book, Why Not Defy the Odds? I was debating then whether I wanted to be a political player in the USA or a political player in Zambia. And so thank God part of that question has been answered. It definitely cannot be in the USA. But within the sphere of Zambia, I'm not so sure, Swilanji, whether it's councillor or, just a carrying placard or just whatever we've already contributed. I'm so happy with what I've already done that I don't see so much the need to want to do more. And that tends to shock people like, no, Mubita, no. I'm like, yes, I'm really happy with what I've already done, contributed. With national development, any little contribution you give to the country, even if it's just lifting the flag, that's a massive contribution. Or ringing the bell to tell people to wake up, that's a huge contribution. So I'm very happy, but still not fully figured out.
Okay. But the part obviously to figure out is motivational speaking. How did you find yourself as a motivational speaker?
When I was a young boy in secondary school, Mumbo Secondary School in particular, people used to say I was a young Barnabas, that I used to always encourage them. People would come to me crying, whether it was exams, relationships, economic, whatever, and I would be like, no, you'll be fine. Don't worry, your mother will send the money. Don't worry, you'll find another boyfriend. Don't worry, you'll find another girlfriend. So they used to call me Barnabas as an encouragement. And so that went on through grade 8 to grade 12. Then when I left school, came down on the streets of Lusaka, I continued. Funerals, I started preaching at funerals, speaking at bereavements, encouraging young people, whether it was business. And people would laugh at me and say, why are you always encouraging people? And I was like, it just comes natural. But I'll tell you where it comes from. I think growing up as a young boy, there was a time I had a very low self-esteem that I could have used a voice to speak to me and to my greater part. So that issues of self-pity, self-doubt, maybe it really marinated so much in my life as a young kid, people poking fun at you, you've got a big head, bad dental formula, you're too short. So now I use that negativity of my background to stir up greatness in others. So that's the natural side. The business side is I was in America, 2002. I convinced a teacher called Miss Johnson, who was a primary school teacher, preschool teacher at Clay Academy in Dallas, Texas. I told her, I'm one of the greatest motivational speakers. I would like to speak at your school. She says, Mubita, I've only got 6 kids and they're 3 years old. I said, those are the best. And that was my very first motivational talk. 6 3-year-old kids, and my topic was how to set goals. 3 years later, I meet one of those kids with the mother, and she says, Mama, meet Mr. Mubita. He taught me how to set goals. I knew I was a motivational speaker.
Interesting. And then all these years later, here you are. But being a motivational speaker, did you face the pressure to actually live what you preached? Because there's this thing that, motivational speakers sort of like tell you to go to a place they haven't been.
There's a lot of pressure. It's like a motivational speaker telling you, you will be rich. Because he truly, genuinely, or she genuinely, sincerely, you can be rich. You can attract wealth. Meanwhile, he doesn't have a car. So that brings confusion in the heads of people. I'll give you a very practical example. I was working as a security guard at the Potter's House Church in Dallas. And I got a motivational gig. And as a security guard at that time, I wore security uniform, pure security uniform. And I only had 1 hour lunch. And within that 1 hour, I had to drive 10 minutes to go speak, 10 minutes to come back. So I had no time to change out of my security uniform, to wear a suit, to look presentable. So I drove to this place to speak. And it was the most confusing thing they had ever seen. A security guard coming to tell us about how to be great. But I spoke, Suilanji. I spoke with passion because I knew that what I wore on the outside was not who I truly was on the inside. But to this day, I can tell you, I can still feel the chills, the conundrum, the pressure of wanting to look the part. Many years, even when I came back to Zambia, I was riding on a bus from here to Kitwe to go and speak, Copperbelt Energy and other companies, to Livingstone on a bus, motivational speaker, telling people that they can be successful, and I don't even have a car. It was not easy at all. People judge you. Sometimes you book a taxi, then it's a wrong taxi. It has a breakdown on your way to a speaking gig, but you show up anyway. Because motivational speaking is not about physical aspects only. It's about stirring the soul, making you into a believer, into your own destiny and greatness. If you look at it from that, you yourself will be motivated. But the pressure is real. Even now, I still have pressure. I cannot say anything on my page without people saying, "Ba motivator," So there's all these prejudices, both good and bad. Even a simple, nonchalant post on my page, it can be easily be misconstrued as either looking down on others or worshiping these or not being sensitive. The pressure is there. And it's up to you and I and everybody else to be real to ourselves. Like William Shakespeare said, "This above all else, to thine own self be true."
Okay, so there are people who really believe in motivation, and they draw it from listening to people like you. Others listen to podcasts like this one. Others read books. So I am taking in the motivation, but then how do I actually make it work for me? Because it's one thing to go to a conference or they spoke. It's one thing to read these books and have this shelf of all these motivational books by all these Les Browns and whatnot and Dale Carnegie, and you genuinely take it in. But then you see that there's no progress in your life. How do you then make it work for you as opposed to just consuming it just for the sake of consuming?
I like what you said. How do you make it work for you as opposed to just consuming it for the sake of consuming it? So if we are not careful, we will be consumers of knowledge, wonderful knowledge. We will be followers of amazing podcasts, amazing people. But until we personalize the actual knowledge, the philosophy and ideology that these people stand for, then we will only be chasers of other people's dreams. Here's how it works. I have an idol that amazes me and inspires me. When they're in Kitwe, I'm there. When they're in Kabwe, I'm there. I'm following them. I'm spending money. I'm buying their books. I'm doing everything. I must be careful. At some point, I should say, wait a minute. I've followed this person to 5 conferences, but I haven't implemented one simple truth that they believe in. So I'll give you a practical example. I am a great admirer of Oprah Winfrey. I love what she does, what she did. But one of the things Oprah teaches, for example, is when you run your own company, make sure you're in charge of your company. You're in charge of your finances. You're in charge. You know everything going on, because if you are not in charge, you will lose money. So I love Oprah. But if I don't put that concept into practice, no matter how great my companies will be, they will be siphoned and run by other people. So my love for Oprah should translate into practically putting in place the little concept. Not everything she believes in do I believe in, but those that I believe in, I should actualize. So one of the things she believes in, she says, I still sign my own checks to my company, which is what I do. Because when you surrender your company to a level where even the signing of checks, it's other people doing it, you may not have a company, especially in this part of the world. Over the next few years, people will kill and destroy your company.
Is that for every company, or at some point they say the company sort of outgrows the owner?
Yes, there's a point when the company outgrows the owner, but as long as it's still private company, you need to be in charge. When it goes public has got its own corporate governance structures and requirements. You cannot be the one doing everything. The law does not allow even. You need to create Chinese walls. But as long as you are private, be careful not to let go of your vision. Whether it's a big company or a small company. Let's say you are running a deco company and you get a contract to go and decorate in Livingstone, and you are home. You haven't ordered anything. You don't know the color codes. You haven't asked critical questions. Have you bought this? Send me a picture of this. Show me the whole. Can I give you input to contribute to you? You should still be involved. Don't just sit and say, I've made 100,000. Let me chill. My staff will take care of that thing. No, they may take care of it today, but soon the quality that you believe in will not be there. All these people, Elon Musk, Richard Branson, they are so detailed in their organizations. Elon Musk is there at the design stage of all these things. It's not just him assigning people to do it. he is just as critically involved to ensure that the vision is protected. And sometimes that's what we lack in Africa. You just make a little bit of money, you are now the boss, you are now the CEO. You want everything done for you. No. Your pulse, your vision as an entrepreneur must continue in that organization. Dangote was visiting that plant of his in Nigeria almost every day. He's not the one building, but he was going to check to make sure that his vision is implemented. That is passion. That is what brings success. But some of us, you make a $10,000, you drink the whole week, you go on vacation. $10,000 and you're on vacation, bro, you won't be rich.
But there comes a time, obviously, when your business begins to grow and you cannot be in all places at the same time. How do you find a system that works in terms of how do you then pass on that vision in others so that even though you may not be, for example, give an example of the Deco company, right? We have 5 events one weekend. You get the point, right? I can't be in all 5, but I want all 5 to go as though I am there, even though I may just be at 1 or 2.
So there's a question we read on the cards, which was, what is my definition of success? And I said, success is doing the things that you're passionate about and then training others to do things that they find with great passion. So that's where the key is. When you are running one company, run it with passion. Bring people to that company. Train those people. The moment you start getting double gigs, take one of those people or 2 of those people, assign them on that gig and let them manage that. Meanwhile, you are running another team and training more people. So after that, you train another group. So now you have 3 groups. You may no longer be the leader of this group. You are now a leader of all 3 groups, ensuring that you are talking to all of them, you are monitoring, you are managing, and eventually, if you train them so well, you can now scale up or duplicate yourself. Part of leadership is the ability to duplicate yourself. If you see yourself as the one always to answer your phone, to hand out flyers, to wash cars, to remember everything, you cannot grow like that. You have to train people. Now, in training people, there are laws: honesty, integrity, friendliness. I must be able to tell you, you've made a mistake. What I expected was this. I must be able to correct you. And when you do well, I must say, guys, well done. So there's a balance of reward and punishment, vision casting, review. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday. I said, we're reviewing the meeting you did three days ago. Just having post-event reviews is part of mentoring. Guys, you did well. I like that, but this was a feedback. Before you know it, you can stay at home and teams are working on your behalf. But never lose sight of your vision. Ask them, how did it go? The customer said this. Was this okay? Monitor. As the function is going, call Timothy, how is it going? Have you set up? That is a leadership we need. If you stop doing those things, people start to relax.
Interesting. And most people, the training is twofold. You can train people who then leave you and live with your clients. And for many entrepreneurs, that is the fear. It cannot be avoided, because you can't say, I want to train you because you ran away. Because the level at which they are trained is also the level of excellence they will deliver. If you don't train them, they'll do what they want, and then it goes wayward against your vision. How do I manage that in terms of the possibility that, look, especially we've seen like women, for example, teach someone to, braid hair. Tomorrow, they don't come for work. The other day, you find this client stops coming because that person opened a salon somewhere else. And because also at the end of the day is, if I own a salon, for example, it's not me who's plaiting the hair. It's those girls, for example, that, do that work. That may be a salon, events, for example, it's deco, it's lighting, it's whatever it is, any business. You train people and ultimately they think like, I can do this, and they go and do it on your own. How do you manage that?
Ooh, I think we need some cold drink, Kool-Aid, mayonnaise, something to cool our throats on such a hot question. Honest to God, that's one of the most painful aspects of business. You bring people in, you pour your heart in, your vision, your resources, and they walk away. I remember I had one person, I even got them a driver's license, got them a car, and they walked away with clients of mine. So I had an option. Do I stop training people because one person has left me? No. Right now, I think we have about 4 of our members of staff that we are graduating through our leadership training. We're giving them drivers. We are doing for them the very thing that the other person did who left. There was one person who asked a question to say, if you don't train people because you are scared they will leave, what if you don't train them and they don't leave? It means now you have people who are incompetent, who are not able. The truth, Suilanji, is that people come in our lives to stay, to pass through, and sometimes to hurt us. So it's up to us to keep going. I think since we started our business in Zambia in 2008, I could comfortably say over 200 people have walked through my hands. 200 people. And of those 200 people, some of them, maybe 1 or 2, could still be with us. The majority are not. They have left. They've gone to do other things. Some even went to start competing companies against mine. Some even stole money. Some stole clients. But there are others who went to become the best wherever they went. And I always tell my staff, when your time comes to go, let me know so that I send you off well. Don't ever leave like a thief. We are not here as enemies. Even if you work with me for 1 year, make sure it's the best year of your life. And when the time comes to go, let me know. If you need a loan where you're going, I'll even give you a loan. I'll even give you a money to go and start your business. But let me know. Don't leave as if we were enemies. I mean, I was there when your child was born. When your father was dying, I buried your father. When you were getting married, I was there, a guest of honor. And now you want to leave me as if I'm a stranger? No, I don't need you forever. I can't. I'm not God. But live properly. And this is where most young people forget. They just get your knowledge and they just want to hurt you. There are emotions involved. And I may treat you like I don't need you today, but life is a circle. Tomorrow we'll meet in another area. So the bottom line is, as entrepreneurs, let's train people. But I want to share a secret. Never teach everything. Never. If you've read the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, there's a component there where he says, when you teach people, always keep certain secrets to yourself. Coca-Cola will never give you the formula of their drink, no matter how many years. There are people who have worked at Coca-Cola for 40 years. They don't know the formula. So never teach everything because they will walk away. There are certain things you must keep to yourselves. That's why I said be involved as a leader. Or if you teach them in silos. These ones don't know what these ones know. These ones don't know what these ones know. That's been one of my secrets now. And ever since I started doing that, I don't get hurt. Because you find a person joins your company today, the first question is, sir, what's your secret to success? Just know that they have not come, you understand? They want to milk you of your wisdom. So keep certain things to yourself so that even when they go, they'll be okay. There are people, as you may know, we run a very successful driving school. There are some people who went and started driving schools after working for me. And some of those people have come back asking for jobs from me after they left my driving school in a very unceremonious manner. Because when they went out there, they discovered, it's not as easy as it looks. Why? I never gave them everything. So that is very important as entrepreneurs. Share, but don't share everything.
The way that people leave a business, I think, has got a lot to do with the relationship they had with the owner. You mentioned you were there for them when their children were born, when their parents died, when they needed you. But there are other people who just don't care. All they see is, when I see you, I'm seeing labor. I just see labor. When you have a funeral, I've lost Tashota. That's all I'm seeing. How do I develop this relationship with people? Because the thing I've come to learn is that I can only go so far depending on if I like you. And it's also the same with employment. If you like your boss, you go all out for them. If you don't like them, you sort of begin to silently sabotage so that they're fired, someone else comes in, or you take the job yourself. How do I, as a business owner, create a relationship with my people that is healthy, is good for the business, but also doesn't then relate into over-familiarity?
I like that. You have to have laws yourself, principles, and you have to have boundaries. One of my greatest employees ever is a young lady called Natasha Mlenga. Natasha worked for me for 5.5 years. Wherever we went, every company, they say, Mubita, we're going to poach Natasha to work for us. She was that good. She left very ceremoniously, very well, went and got married. About maybe 6 months ago, I called Natasha. I did a live on my page. And I said, Natasha, I'm sending you 1,000 kwacha just to buy mealie meal. And everybody was just like, oh, Mubita. But she was an amazing worker. How did we achieve that? We had boundaries. And we were very professional. And we were honest. Natasha would sit me down and say, boss, this is not good. You need to do this. You need, boss, I know. So when a relationship with employees has boundaries, it becomes easier. I was talking to some of my staff last week. They've been calling me too much. You know, I cannot have 8 personal assistants, each one calling me. Sir, I say to them, we're not in a relationship. No, I say to them, we're not in a relationship. Some things text. Some things plan ahead. Tell me today what you need tomorrow. Don't tell me tomorrow what you need tomorrow. No, plan ahead. And I can see the phone calls have reduced because I think they were enjoying that thing of they are seated. Let me call the boss. Let me call Basa. So you have to be professional. You have to teach people how you want to be treated. But let them also know that they are empowered to make decisions. I told them, that decision you're asking me to make, do you know that you could have made it? No, sir, I was scared. I said, why are you scared? Because you were hired to do that. When they do well, tell them, that was good. I like what you did. Right now, as we are recording, they are having a staff meeting at work. They organize it themselves. I never told them. They just told me yesterday, sir, we're having a meeting tomorrow. We're talking about professionalism, conduct, business management. I did not tell them to do that. They did it on their own. So when you start giving people boundaries, they begin to think as leaders. Remember, we are training people to run companies in our absence. You as a leader must show professionalism, trust, integrity, and you must correct people when they are wrong and praise them when they are right. They will trust you more.
Okay. You run a number of businesses. How do you know? Because there are some people who have the money but aren't sure what business to do. And they do not want to experiment with their money. Because sometimes you find, no, you got your gratuity, you don't want to experiment. You want, and I feel like it's human nature. I want where I plant, it grows. I don't want to go and plant in the sand and realize when it's too late. How do you identify that? I think this business can be a good fit for me and that it will thrive.
I have many businesses, yes, but I've failed so many times. I think I'm the most successful failure in Zambia. If there is one man who has failed publicly, lamentably, it's me. Shamefully, it's me. But every time I fail, I just say, okay, next. Because failure doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It just means maybe the timing was wrong, the zeal was too much, the research was insufficient, the capital was not quite where it needed to be, or my own personal dedication wasn't there. But every time I've failed, I've just said, okay, where are my lessons? Let's go. We'll use you next time. Now, how do I know which business to start? I tend to start businesses that are within my personal strengths. So, for example, I love vehicles. I'm very good at maintaining vehicles. I can buy a wreck today. You will see it in a few months' time. You won't recognize it. I get that from my father, my late father and mom. So I take that talent and I use it in my businesses. So all my businesses have a vehicle component in them. I may have many vehicles, but each vehicle makes money for me. So some people may say, no, that's too many vehicles. No, that's just a passion of mine being implemented. I can run many vehicles because I'm really good at maintenance. I know when a vehicle was serviced. I don't like faulty vehicles. So that passion is part of my business. I love hotel and hospitality. I like clean lodges, clean places. That's part of my business. So I love to speak, to edify people, to motivate people, to educate people. That's part of my business. So I've taken these 3 components: hospitality, training, education, and logistics. Those are my 3 core businesses. I didn't go and start a business in architecture, design, or surveying, quantitative surveying or qualitative surveying, or law firm. I didn't, because I don't know how those things work. But my businesses are within my strength. So that's the rule number 1 of business. Never start a business that requires more energy from you than your passion can sustain. What sustains business is not capital. It's passion. It's dedication. It's that moment when we sit, we are broke, and we're like, oof, where will the next money come from? Well, what creative thing can I do to bring juice? That is passion. How do I pay my workers? How do I rebrand? I have a very bad competitor who has just come with more money than me. What do I do? That is the passion of business. You can have $10 million. If you have no passion, 3 months, 6 months, tops, the $10 million will go. You can have $1,000 if you've got passion. In 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, 12 years time, that $1,000 can become $10 million if you've got passion. So it's very important that you don't just copy and paste businesses, but that we start businesses that we have knowledge, inspiration, technical know-how, and we're also willing to learn and grow in that business. I'm not willing to learn how to be a lawyer. No. I'm not willing to learn how to run a law firm. No. I have no interest in that. Running an accounting firm, zero. But I can pay an accounting firm to do my books. I can pay a lawyer to represent me, but I cannot do what they do. But what I do, them lawyers and them accountants might not be able to do it.
Okay. They say a good name is better than, the Bible says a good name is better than riches and whatnot. There was a time that I almost wrote about you on Facebook because I saw that with you. I don't know what group on social media, but someone wanted to buy land and they said, Mubita Nawa is selling land. How credible is he? Mm-hmm. You know? And then in the comments, people were like, I know he's a straight guy. I know I bought from him straight guy, like that. And for me, that then speaks to your credibility. A good name is not easy to build because there are times when obviously you've been tempted to either cut corners and whatnot, but you understand that the value of the name in the long term will outlast whatever momentum, like thing in the moment I want to, overcome. Tell me about instances where you had to choose building a name over financial, reward.
Oh, Swelanji, next time bring some Holy Communion, Jolly Juice. These questions are too deep and emotional because, that's a very painful question. It's not been easy. Before I come to that good part, let me tell you a bad part. Several years ago, about 10 years ago, a lady bought a car from me. We did a transaction. She traveled with a car somewhere. She paid me part of the money. After 2 weeks, she brought the car back and said, I don't like the car. Then I said to her, but you went with it. You got it. We signed papers. She said, I don't want the car back. Let me have my money. Then I said, I've already used the money. But I said, okay, here is your money back. Literally. I said, here is your money back. My secretary was there. Everybody was there. I said, I will take away 1,500 from your money for use and damage. The money was there at the table. She was at my office. She refused that money, went to the police and wrote a complaint and called the media. I think it was a Monday or Tuesday. As I was showing up at the police, the media were recording and the headline says, Mubita Nawa swindles woman out of money. That was painful. So I told the police, this lady, we gave her the money on Friday. There was a difference of 1,500. And the money is still there. When did I swindle her? So the police says, Mr. Nawa, just give her the money. And I gave her back the money. I think at that time it was 16,000. I just wanted to remove a 1,500 for use and damage. I gave her the money. That incident pained me. Because you know how headlines scream and people don't know the context. Do you know that lady called me about 8 months ago to apologize for what she did to me 10 years ago? Now, an apology that comes 10 years later for the damage that you caused to somebody's name, that is an incident where you just have to do the right thing even though the other person wants you to do the wrong. Another incident just happened today as I was coming to meet you. A lady bought land from us 3 weeks ago. She came to the site, saw the land, paid on site. And today, as I was coming, my assistant says to me, she has sent this text that she no longer wants the land. She has changed her mind. She wants a refund. Now, I'm looking at this text. I said, but the conditions are there. She paid us money. But you know what I will do, Swilanj? I will give this lady her money. Because of the incident that happened to me 10 years ago. I don't owe this lady money. I've given her land. But you know what usually happens in Zambia? She went home, had a fight with her husband, who disagreed with her decision, or they have now realized they've made a financial decision somewhere, so they will punish Mubita Nawa because for whatever reason. But you know what Mubita Nawa would do? I told my assistant, I said, how much was her payment? And we are sending her the money today. And we'll keep our land. Why? Because we want to keep our name. That's not easy. Because I can easily fight her and win. But I'll let it go because I don't need her money. I need my name. And sometimes those people, they are very good at denting other people's names because they are caught up in this thingy. And so sometimes being a public figure, people even know if I do this, press this button, Mubita Nawa will give me the money back because he has a name to protect. But what they don't know is some of us, we've been like this when we were children and we'll be like this for a long time. It's not easy to part with money after a transaction has already gone to. But I'm doing it for my children's name and for my own name.
Hi guys, thank you so much for your support that you give to the podcast. We don't take it for granted. If you feel that the content on the podcast is worth it, it's valuable, that you learn something, we're asking you to support us even further with your financial contribution. That way, you help us to meet our costs and we keep the lights on and we make sure that the podcast is always available to you. You can do so by sending a contribution to any of the numbers that are showing right below. We thank you for supporting the Growth Podcast. Wow, that's interesting. Well, now that you've mentioned the bit about land, you've obviously now gone into construction. Yes. I don't know if you're a consultant or you're a contractor or you're just
I'm a bricklayer.
You're a bricklayer.
I'm a Dhaka boy.
Yeah, so you seem to have this passion around. And there's one time, maybe you can now give me some flesh to this. There was one time you wrote about the mistakes you've made,
yes,
where land is concerned, and you listed them down.
Yes.
Let's go through them.
Yes.
One of them you said was selling land because they said no, yes. There's a whole list of them. Run me through again those mistakes that you made, and I know that you saw the reason to write down those mistakes because you see them in other people.
Yes, land is like a man promising a woman a bright future. And this man doesn't work. This man doesn't have anything. He's just wearing tomatropicals. But he's busy saying, I'll marry you. I'll make you rich. That's how land is. It's a very futuristic. It's not like chicken and chips. Chicken and chips is now. I'm eating it now. I can see it. I can taste it. I'm salivating. Land is docile. It's this asset that you have to sacrifice so much to put your energy in it. And that was me 30 years ago. I bought a land just in Chilenje here 30 years ago. And then I met this girlfriend at the time who told me, you can't buy here. It's a bush. And I sold that land. I had already put a wall fence, beautiful wall fence. And my girlfriend told me you couldn't keep that land. And I didn't because I was in love. Guess where that land is? Right behind ShopRite Chilenje. Right there behind ShopRite Chilenje. Now, if I had bed sitters in there, how much would I be making today? So we sell land or we don't buy land because we don't see the future value, because it's not chicken and chips. Another mistake I made is I listened to relatives. My grandmother told me, I bought land in Limulunga just before, as you enter Limulunga Western Province. My grandmother told me, there are witches here. Those people are witches. I had paid. And it was a big battle in my family. No, they will bewitch you. And I called the witches. I said, please, I'm kindly asking for the kamane. And they were so kind. I told them, don't send everything. Keep 20% is yours. I told them. They said, okay. And they sent it immediately. Today, as I drive into that place, that land is not worth whatever I got back. It's 10, 20 times more. I can't even afford it anymore. Technically, I can't afford it. So those are some of the mistakes. And thirdly and lastly, just not buying land. There was land that was offered to me in New Kasama 15 years ago, 112,000 kwacha, 15 years ago. I refused. I said it's too expensive. That land today is $1.3 million kwacha today. I can't afford it. I could afford it then. But because I didn't see the future value, I didn't buy. When we were selling our Lusaka plots, they were 10,500. Everybody was like, no, I'll buy later. Now we have sold out. We don't have Lusaka plots. They're gone. Now people are calling, Mubita, I want some Lusaka land. I said, I don't have any more. When I have, I'll let you know. So with land, you have to make a decision to do it. If I come to your wardrobe, Swilange, I can show you where your land is right now. In your shoes, in your iPad, in that jacket you bought last week, in your hairstyle every 2 days. Especially for our ladies, it's very expensive to keep that all up. We actually have land, but we are wearing it. This Kalito suit I'm wearing today, if I have 3 of these, 4 of these, it might just be a plot. So it's not that people do not have money to buy land, but our priorities and our influence around us, the people around us, they are breaking our hearts. Lastly, I cannot tell you how many times a man has bought land from me and he goes home and the wife says no, or a woman has bought land from me and she goes home and the husband says no. And I just say to them, I wish you could see the future. That same person saying no will need that land one day. There is one house I built. I built it without the permission of my partner at the time. Because I didn't want my partner to know. I knew they would discourage me. I went ahead and started building. I took my partner when the land was at window level. They shouted, hey, you wasted money. Today, how they're enjoying that same house. So with land, you must make certain decisions on your own, with or without your partner's blessings. I'm just saying the truth. Because that same partner might be the one who might need that same land in future. And some things we do them for our children. Don't make the mistakes I made. Buy land now. Even if it's far, buy. Even if it's wherever, buy. But don't buy too much land again. It's possible to have 30 plots but no house. That's not wise. Divide those 30, sell 15. The money from that, build 2 houses. And one other mistake, Suilange. Some people are not buying land because the area is bad. Then ask them, where are you staying now? They're in a compound now. But it's okay to be in a compound because it's rented. But when it's yours, you can't have it. No, I say, wherever you can stay, you can own land. As long as you are staying there now, you can own there. And one day when you leave, you'll be paying rentals. Rentals from there will be coming to you. Rentals follow. There are some places I own houses. They are not so nice, but the money is sweet.
I've heard that before, that there's money in Midadada.
There's one that I'm finishing now. If you go on our page, we are doing a project. It's a 90-day project. We're on day 23, 24. Today, we are reaching lintel level. I'm building 5 Midadadas, self-contained with a kitchen. It's sitting on a 23-meter by 11-meter plot. And by the time I'll be done in 68 days' time, roof, tiled, everything, window, that property will be making me 17,000 kwacha per month. Just that one property. 17,000 kwacha per month. Meaning in the rule of 72, within 6.5 years, 7 years' time, that property will have paid for itself back. All the money I'm putting it within 6 to 7 years will have come back. All my properties that I'm renting now, some of them I started building them in 2019, some of them in 2018. Most of them have already paid themselves back. And remember, even if a property has not paid you back, the appreciation of that land will offset. So you buy the land at 3,000, you build a house at 10,000, your rental so far, so you're at 13, your rental so far is at 1,200. In 7 years, maybe you'll be at 8,200. You are short, yes, about 2,000 or 5,000 kwacha in terms of paying you back. But the value of that property is now at 33,000 kwacha. compared to the 3,000 you put in there and the 10,000. You are now at 33. Meaning you can, even if it's on title deed, you can even apply to the bank and get a loan, refinance. Equity has been built in that asset. So land is about appreciation. There's a property my father bought in 1989. True story. Today that property is worth millions. He bought it in 1989. I don't even know if he would remember how much he spent. 1989. Today it's worth millions. Millions. And we are the ones enjoying that property because our father and mother had a foresight. And that's why we buy land. So that our children one day, they can say our father and mother were smart.
The point you mentioned about building and then your partner doesn't know, others may misconstrue that, because we've heard stories of where caretakers take over houses because the person was building and they died and no one knew. But also, how do you align your partner? Because look, some people will say, no, maybe if you feel like you have to hide from the partner, maybe it's a wrong partner and whatnot. But how do you align in terms of, look, this is where we're going. We're going to invest this money here. And I need you to be with me here. Because also, I feel like it then brings unnecessary fights and wrangles where you just discover, Because also when someone thinks, that kind of thing. How do you align with a partner in terms of, look, we won't make the money now? Because sometimes you find your partner wants a new car or this iPhone. They want to what? They want these things of today, like you mentioned, the chicken and chips. But they need to be so forced to appreciate for the future.
Each relationship is different, and I'm probably not the best marriage counselor or relationship counselor. But I think what is important is communication and commitment. Aligning a partner doesn't mean your partner agrees with everything you are doing. I think that our partners may not like what we are doing or what we intend to do, but they will respect the fact that we have informed them of the decisions we want to make. And each relationship must find its own tempo. So one of the things I do in my home, for example, there are certain things we do with my wife that we agree from the word go. This is what we're going to do, when we're going to do, and so on and so forth. But there are certain things my wife does on her own. All she has to do is just tell me. But how she does it, when she does it, she has discretion. I also have discretion on certain things. I just have to let her know. So I'll give you a simple example. About 4 weeks ago, I told my wife, I said, the cattle at the farm, there is one, I think maybe we should sell it, but we replace it with 3 or 4 cows because it's not a very good breed. My wife said, not a problem. I think we should do that. We'll kill it when the other cows come. I informed my wife. I told her there was no objection. And I asked her, do you have any objection? She says, no, go ahead. I did it. When the cattle came, I didn't tell my wife. I told her after the cattle came, I said, the cattle have arrived. Here are the pictures. Should we now slaughter that cow? She says, I don't think we should slaughter that cow. I think let's keep it. I said, I agree. Slaughtering a whole cow just because you don't like it is not business sense. She says, okay. Then I said, okay, whenever you're ready, let's go to the farm. You'll see the cows. She hasn't seen the new cows. Neither have I. But they are at the farm. She's not offended because she knew what we were doing. Now, had I bought those cows without, no, you understand, she was in the know. When she goes to see the cows, she may not like the color of one cow. I'll respect her. But one thing she likes is that her husband has bought more cattle for the farm. And that she respects. She may not like the color of the cows. So I think that's where it comes to. I know with the houses it's different. There is a certain point where you are careless with these things. You are just buying plots. Today, baby nagula nyumba. Tomorrow, baby nagula plot. The next day, baby nagula. Your wife, your husband will be like, you're not normal. There's an order to these things. You can't be buying plots every week. Because your partner is also saying, but how come you're just buying plots? You're not developing them. So it's important that whatever we are doing, let it be in line with the family. Now, that's the positive side. What if your partner does not want anything to do with the development? But then when they want what they want, they get. You, when you want what you want for the family, they don't want it. Me, I say, go ahead. Especially as the head of the home, you should be able to say, babe, I'm buying that plot. Not for me, but for you. And you go and buy it. Inform them. Even when they don't like the decision, inform them. You'll be much more free. If you don't inform them, you'll feel like a slave. So, like I told you, I once showed someone a house that was at window level. They didn't like it. They squealed, they squirmed, they cried, they screamed. But trust me, to this day, they are very happy. So there are certain things we must do to protect the family. I'll give you this final story. I met a man 15 years ago. All the title deeds of the house were in his name. All the properties were in his name. And the woman had no single name on any of the property. So what should that woman do? I said, what happened? She said, he doesn't want to put anything in my name. So should such a woman not get a plot in her name somewhere? She gets a gratuity, she gets a plot somewhere in Kafiwe, gives it to Suiranya, says, Suiranya, so going to my title deed for the sake of my children. I think she should. I'm not saying the house is divided, but if you are living with such a person who is very selfish, he's not thinking about the children, I think you should help him think about himself. There was a man I know, he found a girlfriend. These are real things. He found a girlfriend. He changed all the properties in the name of the girlfriend. And then he died. Guess who benefited?
It's the girlfriend.
Now, such men, we have to help them. Such women, we have to help them. Because if we don't think on their behalf, we will lose as well. Tough decisions, tough conversations. It's not for everybody. But I think seek wisdom, inform your partner, but where your partner does not cooperate,
there's this debate between residential property and commercial property. Good. Where some people feel, instead of building a house for rent, I can make 3 shops. Because if I do 3 shops, I'm charging 2,000 kwacha per shop. By 3 shops, it's 6,000 kwacha. For me to charge 6,000 kwacha rent on a house, how much would I have invested? What's your say? Others feel, just make a couch outside and someone will come and rent the couch and the money. Those kinds of things.
There's what we call an investment portfolio. An investment portfolio is basically the wallet of all your investments. What do you have in your wallet? Some people have got lodges, farms, restaurants, and so on and so forth. One of the things, if you look at people like Warren Buffett, one of the great portfolios is that it must be diversified. Do not just have a portfolio that has the same things. Have a diversified portfolio. Having said that, you need to invest in an area where you've got strength. There are people who have built shops, but their shops are vacant. There are people who have built houses, their houses are vacant. And there are people who have built both shops and houses, and they're at full occupancy. So it's about finding your strength and, again, avoiding copy and paste. You don't want a situation where you put money in any investment, whether it's residential or commercial, and your money is stuck, because cash flow is king. You need cash. So, like for me, one of the reasons I love residentials is I love people. I love to see people washing their clothes and put them on my line that I built for them. It's the sweetest feeling to just see children running around the house that you built. It makes me happy. Do I like commercial properties? Not as much. Will I enter into multi-facility properties like shopping malls one day? I may do it. I'm not saying I won't. Will I build filling stations? I may do it. I'm not saying I won't. But I'm building my capital using residential properties. And my formula is build small houses that people can rent quickly. Go to the compound and see the turnover. In a compound, I'm living a house today. Suiranj is entering as we are exchanging. Tenga kovanga. In the compound, their houses are rarely vacant. That's the secret of real estate success. If you can find out that formula, why it succeeds, then you apply it, whether it's in commercial or residential, you will succeed. Because even commercial, be careful. Remember, return on investment matters. You can't put $1 million in a property and you're getting $500 rent per month. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But me, if I can build a house for $30,000 and I'm getting $500 a month, I'm richer than you. Because you have spent $1 million, you are making $500. Me, I've spent 30,000, I'm making $500. I'm richer than you. Meaning, if I duplicate this formula, in 5 years, I'll be way, way ahead than you. And you will still be failing to pay the loan of the same money that you got on your property. So this formula, I don't condemn commercial, I don't condemn residential. I'm saying find what works for you, what you are passionate about. Me, I'm passionate about families, single people, residential. That I love.
Managing costs for people who are building. There are people who are scared to build because they don't have the money, and others say, no, pangono, you've got to 3,000, buy to Sandy, you got to water. What's the best way to go about construction for people who may not have a lump sum or a 2 million? Because there are people who, they start today, in 6 months, they move in. And then there are others who 5 years, lintel, roof, just at roof, they'll pack first. 2 years raising money for, then they, what's the best way to go about it? Because also others sort of burn out and they give up. And they just, maybe not now.
I built Inspire Leadership School in New Kasama, Chalala, in 6 months. I bought that plot for 450,000 kwacha. I think at that time it was maybe, how much was that? About $100,000 or somewhere there. Anyway, it's a long time ago, but it was 450,000 kwacha. And then I got some money. I built that school in 6 months because I had the money to do it. But in that rush of building in 6 months, we also made some mistakes. We had the wrong skill. One of the roof was not done well. The wind came about 2-3 years later. It blew off the roof, almost killed 2 people. Thank God no one died and but a whole metal just missed people by inches. What am I saying? When you rush in building, you are most likely going to cut corners. Building requires time. So I built Inspire Leadership School because I had the money. I had run into some big money and I put it in there. However, how I think it's a better way to build is to build in stages. Calculate, my house will cost me 600,000 kwacha to build. I've got 100,000. The first mistake you make is not starting because you've only got 100,000. The right thing you would do is say, let me start with a slab. Let me dig, build the box, backfill, compact, put chemicals, put wire. Your slab might cost you 70,000. You remain with 30,000. Don't go buy shoes. Take the 30, buy quarry, building sand, and blocks, and keep them for the next stage. When you have so now from your 600, you are now at 500,000 short. But remember, you're not even short because you've bought quarry, building sand, and the blocks. Don't buy cement because cement is perishable. It has an expiry date and it hardens when exposed to time and moisture. So you will cry if you buy cement. Plus, people steal cement. So don't buy cement in bulk. When you get your next 30,000, don't say, I don't have the 100 I had, therefore I won't start. Because human beings are spenders. Whether you like it or not, that 30,000 will go. So go ahead and call a builder and say, look, I've got 30,000, I've got 3,000 blocks. Can you raise the walls for me? The answer is yes. Do the next stage. There's a man in Woodlands, he built a house over a 12-year period. 12-year period. And everybody laughed at this man. What they didn't realize is he had a very good job. He had no pressure. The company was paying his rentals. And every penny he saved, he was building his house. 12 years. Today, as I speak to you, that house is one of the best houses in Woodlands. And that was 15 years ago when he moved into his house. The people who were laughing at him for 12 years still do not have a house. 12 plus 15, that's 27 years of laughing at someone, watching someone build, and 15 years of him enjoying his house. You, 27 years of nothing. Let's be careful when we laugh at people. Some of the people we laugh at should be giving us a help. They are the people we should be going to for wisdom. I'm laughing at Suilanji. Kanchi Suilanji is my savior. Sweetheart, you and I had a wonderful conversation at the funeral of our late brother, Galamkani. You don't know what you said to me that day. It was powerful. And this is what you were saying to me that day. We were talking about equipment and how you buy your. I mean, look at your studio. It's so beautiful. And you shared with me, said, Mubita, no, I buy this from here and there, and this is how I buy. You know, someone will be laughing at you, Basuiranji, but you are better than them. And through what you shared with me that day at that funeral, you don't know how you impacted my life. There's something I went and did based on your wisdom. I didn't laugh at you. Me, I have a philosophy. If you are richer than me, taller than me, brighter than me, anything more than me, you're not my enemy. You are my source of inspiration.
Interesting. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about is you have this, and I did say this before we started our recording, you've got this sell without shame kind of attitude where as long as you're making money the right way, it's clean money, you go and make it. And you don't pay attention to what people say. Tomorrow you'll be driving a Vitz around, you get a point. Someone will say, because I saw him with the Vitz. But you know what you're doing. For most people, that is what is holding them back. They want to do so much, but they think, the masters, for example, I work in a bank. When they see me doing this, they'll say that. And many people are not going further because they really so much pay attention to how are others going to see me. How do you deal with that?
There's a scripture in the book of Hebrews that says, run your race with endurance, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of your faith. When you understand that you've got your own race on earth to run, Carlton Pearson says, there's a reason why I can't stop running this race. I've got to see my victory one day. So for me, I have this conviction to serve people. I love people. All my business is about service. To serve people. About when Honorable Levi Mwanawasa died, our former president died, there was a by-election. President Rupia Banda at that time, remember, after everything was now running. And I was coming from church on a Sunday when the by-elections were now happening. And I'm coming, I reached by police force headquarters. I find police people with buses. I'm like, hey, let me turn. I asked them, what is happening here? Why is my bus not here? That's the question I asked them on a Sunday afternoon. And they said, what do you mean, why is your bus not here? I said, hey, all these buses, why isn't my bus here? They said, Mr. Nawa, do you have a bus? I said, hey, would I be asking you why my bus is not here if I didn't have a bus? Then they said to me the most sweetest words of an entrepreneur's ears. They said, can your bus go to Lukulu? I said, yes. Can it be here in 1 hour? I said, yes. I said, wait, how much is it? They said, we'll give you 12,000 kwacha and we'll put fuel for you. I called home. I said, prepare my clothes. I'm going to Lukulu. I said, what are you going to do in Lukulu? You're coming from church. I said, I'm being paid 12,000 kwacha. And the person on the other said, hey, which clothes am I packing for you? I called my driver, Richard. I said, Richard, what are you doing? He said, sir, I'm eating shima. I said, Richard, stop eating shima. My wife has just started preparing shima. I said, Richard, I'm sending you 300 kwacha right now, and I'm buying 2 more shima, and we're going to Lukulu right now. Richard stopped eating shima. Within 2 hours, I was at Central Police with my Marco Polo bus. I loaded 78 police officers. I drove the bus myself from Lusaka to Kaoma. My route was changed. Instead of Lukulu, I went to Kaoma, but same price. Richard sat. We got to Lukulu, to Kaoma around 01, and the police were singing on the bus. You are a motivator. Nawa, you can drive this big thing now, telling me like, I was, it was the sweetest 12,000 of my life. I told Richard, now you can drive. We reached Kaoma 01. 02, we were on our way back. We were back in Lusaka by 10 the following morning with 12,000 kwacha in my pockets from driving a bus. I'm still Mubita now. And guess where I put that 12,000? I built a house. And that house has made me more than 12,000. Where are the people who laughed at me when I was making that 12,000? They were even poorer than me. The same thing happens with trucks. I'm a truck driver, Swilanj. I go to Botswana, I ferry salt. Today, not yesterday, not when, to this moment. I'm a truck driver. I'll carry 30 tons of salt from Suapan to Congo, myself. And the women will be on the road. Some will be falling in love. Oh, Mubita, Nawa. Oh, Mubita. But he drives a truck. I've made 30,000 kwacha. One trip. And they're laughing at me. Even when I drive school pupils at my school, one man said to me, Mubita Nawa is finished. He's just a driver. And the school people said, go driver, go. We need some pressure, go driver. The kids knew who the owner of the bus and the school was. The person judging me knew neither. But why do I do it? I'm running a race. At the end of the day, whether I make money from motivational speaking, truck driving, as long as it's legal, Swilanj, I will make money. Because money is sweet any way you make it. Especially when it's legal and it's hard-earned, you will enjoy that money. But I see a lot of people, I'm an accountant. I can't sell fritters. Don't you know that an accountant can make the best fritters because they're accounting based?
But that kind of attitude, is it easy to develop?
Yes. You just have to humble yourself. Don't have pride. One of my strengths is that at the end of the day, I know I'm just a human being. I may be on TV, on radio, I'm just Mubita. So don't let that go to your head. That's number one. Number two, know that you need people. On your way up, remember people down because you need to put them up or you may need them on your way down. So it starts from there. So even if it's sitting in an ugly restaurant, I will sit and eat. I may have a stomachache tomorrow, but I will sit and eat. If it's sitting on a minibus, I'll sit and eat and ride with you on a bus. I'll walk. I'll ride a plane. I'll charter a plane. I'll ride on a plane. I'll ride a bicycle. I'm still Mubita now. All these things are just God-given gifts. But what we do is we allow power, authority, wealth to get to our heads. We start mistreating other people. Nah. Just be yourself. You need people.
What are some of the principles that you feel have worked for you in business that have really driven you to where you are today?
Customer service. I dance with customers. My wife always laughs at me, says, you'll sell me one day. I said, if the right customer comes, you are going, my friend. My children say, Daddy, you can sell us one day. My own kids. I just love customers. When I'm on the phone with customers, when someone calls you, they want to give you money. So you better be ready to receive it. But two, deliver what you promise. People should trust you to know. I'll tell you an example. All the cars that I sell on my page that are mine, there are other cars that are other people's. People fight for my cars because they know my cars are ever in good condition. You can see my car outside. It's open the engine, open. I keep cars well. I keep them well. Me, even when I'm selling a car, do you know that they're always on full tank?
Buy a car from you.
Yes, you buy a car from me and it's on full tank because my cars are always on full tank. All of them. Even the cars that I've left at home parked, they are on full tank. It's just the way I am. It's not something I started today. It's who I am. So people know that at least I'll try my best to deliver what I promise. And lastly, I stick to what I know. I don't do things I don't know. Like if you tell me this microphone, brother, you're stressing me. Leave me. I don't know anything. But okay, I can tell it's good quality. But that's all I know. But when you find me in my element, I will do my best. We're opening a restaurant shortly somewhere. I won't say where. Why am I opening a restaurant? Because I'm a great cook. And I've had this dream for 15 years. When I cook food, so people sip the soup, flip the plate upside down. I love service. I love clean restaurants and I love cooking. So we're opening that restaurant. Why? To employ people. 2, cash flow. So that every day I have some cash When you don't have cash, you feel like you're suffering. Because even real estate requires cash. So you need businesses that are generating cash and businesses that are generating future value.
You seem like someone who makes good money. How do you maintain financial discipline? Because in Zambia, make a bit of money, Dubai, what, you want to show people you've arrived. All those who said no, they think I'm driving a bus, I'm driving a Vitz, I'm driving, what, they think I'm suffering, let me now show them. How do you maintain discipline and not to say, look, this is what I'm doing, the money is for the business, it's not for me. I've got a way that I want to live and I should not get overexcited by these things.
I think one of my secrets is that I am terrible at showing off, really terrible. Even when I take pictures at home, before I post it, first of all, I rarely post pictures of me at home. Rarely. In fact, those who follow me, they will say, I rarely show my house. Even my own car, I'll only take a car, So I'm a terrible person at showing off in that way. I might have my own way of showing off. Everybody does. Even you, by having such high quality microphones, this is showing off. In your own way. Why didn't you have poor ones?
Want the experience to be good for those who are listening.
That's what showing off is.
It's customer service.
Showing off.
It's customer service.
So each person has a way of showing off. We all show off. Some people it's their watch. Some people it's good phone. Some people it's good food. So that's one I don't like showing off. So I'm not in a competition with myself. Like, let me show the next thing that I'm doing. So some people are in a race with themselves. I showed them the Vitz last week. I need to show them a BMW today. Tomorrow I need to show them a Benz. And then two, I think for me, one of the things I love to do is empower people. If I can bless someone with an opportunity to buy meal meal at home, to find a good job, to take care of my family, my children, my loved ones, that's better showing off for me. If my businesses can run well, rentals paid, cars fixed, my staff are happy. Just yesterday, one of our staff members, the mother-in-law, died. I told my secretary, do this for them. That's it. That's a good way of showing off. These other things, flying where, I still love those things, but they are not a priority. My biggest thing is how many people do I employ? How much income am I generating for the community? We do a program called Skip a Meal and Feed a Child, where we feed homeless, we donate to young people, we are sponsoring young people through college. That's more fulfilling for me. And lastly, starting businesses that my children will find, that my wife will run, is much more fulfilling than buying the largest watch or the most expensive this, that, or the other. I'm not so much into that.
My last question to you, what are the 5 things you'd like to give to young people as advice on anything?
Okay. Number 1, start small. Start small. Don't wait to start when you are old. Start small. Start with what you have. Start small. Believe that greatness comes from smallness. We are human today, weighing 80 kgs, 90 kgs, but we started as zygotes, very small. And here we are today. Number 2, be practical. Solve problems. Where you see people have no water, ask yourself, can I buy 20 buckets and I draw water for them? I am the earliest at the tap. I draw water for them and they start paying me 1 kwacha per bucket. They found me drawn water, 1 kwacha per bucket. But then they must buy another bucket so that when they come, they exchange with this one. So tomorrow, they find buckets. That means now you are an income of 20 kwacha per day, 100 kwacha per 5 days, 140 kwacha per week, 660 per month from drawing water. And each bucket costs you 10 kwacha. So when you think like that as a young person, you will always have money. You will never be a beggar. Solve problems creatively. You started small with buckets. Within 4 years, you have bowsers, water bowsers. That's how greatness starts. Number 3, believe in excellence. Be like Soilange. Run a studio as if you are CNN. But you're just Soilange Siam. But you are running it like you are CNN. Look at the lighting here. Look at the tech in here. This is some CNN, BBC vision in you. That's how young people should be. Even if you are running a bicycle delivery service, let your bicycle have reflectors. Put a fake number plate on your bicycle. Put a radio system on your bicycle. Because the vision is for the future. You are dressing for the future, not for your present. Number 4, learn from your mistakes. You will fall down. I gave you an example of how I got in a very bad PR situation 12 years ago over a small misunderstanding with a client. I learned from that. I'm a better man because of that. As much as it hurt me, hurt my brand, I learned. So you will fall as a young person. You will make mistakes. You asked me what was one of my greatest mistakes. I have worse mistakes than those. Terrible mistakes than those. Life-threatening mistakes than those. But they've been some of the best lessons in my life. Your darkest space can be one of your brightest moments. So pick yourself up. Don't give up. When your business goes bankrupt, start afresh and learn. Last but not least, stick to fewer things, not to too many things. You can't be a jack of all trades. You are into this, into that, 20 different things. No. We succeed by having fewer things. I always say, if the things can't fit a hand, they are way too many. The things you do, if they can't fit in a hand, you can't count them on the hand. You need more hands and neighbors' hands and neighbors' feet. You cannot be a very great person. You might be average. So have fewer things, concentrated effort, focused effort, run your race on a long term. You wrote a wonderful article about a year ago about purpose, patience, endurance, strategy, determination. That was a great article. And that's the mentality young people must have. Have a vision, strategic plan. Where am I? Where do I want to go? How do I get there? How do I ensure arrival? How do I control myself from running away from this path? If you do that, then heaven is not just your goal, but an earth full of heavenly blessings.
Mr. Nawa, thank you very much. It was definitely worth it having you here, though you almost never made it because you're supposed to come tomorrow, and yet here you are. I've learned so much from you. There's certain things I know. This, I think, is an item of immediate actioning. And I do know that also the audience have drawn a lot of value from you. Thank you very much for sparing the time. And we'll keep learning from you, because these days people can learn from you so much and you have no idea. Even just on Facebook, we keep following you. And I think it's easier to have a conversation because, one, I feel like I know you already and I know what value you can bring. And that's why I thought it fit to have you here. Thank you so much for the time. We don't take it for granted.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure. This is one of the most powerful podcasts, not only in Zambia, but across our continent. And to be here, to be hosted by a great genius such as yourself is a great honor. So thank you and God bless you. And we'll see you soon.
Definitely. We'll invite you again in the future.
Thank you.
For an update.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for your support that you give to the podcast. We don't take it for granted. If you feel that the content on the podcast is worth it, it's valuable, that you learn something, we're asking you to support us even further with your financial contribution. That way, you help us to meet our costs and we keep the lights on and we make sure that the podcast is always available to you. You can do so by sending a contribution to any of the numbers that are showing right below. We thank you for supporting the Growth Podcast.